Studies show that Gen Z is the most depressed generation, and as someone who used to, I don't know if I'd say struggle, but I used to deal with some mental health stuff, which I'll get into a bit later. I just want to share what the Bible says about mental health. I don't know, maybe this will help one of you. The Bible actually has some pretty good advice when it comes to this stuff. And before I go over this, I just want to make it clear that this is not God's will. It's not God's design for us, as humans to have these sort of issues. It says in Revelation 21, He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. When God creates this new heaven and new earth, there will be no more death, there'll be no more crying, there'll be no more pain. And to add on to that, in 2 Timothy it says, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. God doesn't want us being fearful, anxious. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes, you do go through things. In those moments where you're going through those hard things, right? When you're going through anxiety, going through depression, give it over to God. 1 Peter 5, it says, Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. He doesn't want you to be stuck in anxiety or in depression. And that doesn't mean that there will never be sadness. You can find sadness in the Bible. The shortest verse is, Jesus wept. You have an entire book called Lamentations where Jeremiah just laments about Israel being captured by the Babylonians. In Ecclesiastes, it says, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. There's clearly times of sorrow in the Bible, and that's also something that we see in our lives, but it shouldn't be what we are living in. If you notice in Ecclesiastes, it says a time, that's a set period. But yeah, I didn't mention this stuff in my testimony video because I was kind of focused on the other part of it. So I guess this is a testimony 2.0, I guess. Before I was even 10 years old, I wanted to, how do I say this without YouTube bombing this video? Reset character, I guess you'd say. And as you can imagine, that brought in a lot of brokenness into my life. I'm pretty sure studies have shown that people who experience those sort of emotions at younger ages, it tends to linger with them for a while. And I had that happen to me. I would go through random month periods at a time where I felt no desire to do anything. Everything that I had once loved, I couldn't do it anymore. I had zero motivation. I looked very down on things that I would work on. I'd feel like a failure. That lasted for years, and I just wouldn't tell anybody about it. But that all changed, man. The reason why that changed isn't because of anything that I did. It's because of what Christ did for me. Through me being in relationship with Christ, my life has completely changed, and that is an area in which my life has changed. I haven't felt anything like that for a while. The last time I felt something like that was before I knew Christ. Now that I know Christ, I'm genuinely the happiest I've ever been. And when I say no, I don't mean no as in you read about him in a book. I mean no as in I know a friend. I don't know Abraham Lincoln. I've seen a portrait of him. I know what he did. But I wasn't dapping him up in the White House. If I were to know Abraham Lincoln, I would be dapping him up in the White House. Obviously, I'm not, so I don't know him. But it's kind of that same thing where knowing Christ isn't about reading about him. It's about knowing him as if he were your friend. And Jesus is there for you. He has his hand over your life. Jesus can set you free from whatever struggles you're going through. And I know because I've seen it in my own life. My life has done a 180. If he can do it for me, he can do it for you. And my belief today is that, if you're going through something like this, he wants to set you free. And if you surrender yourself to Christ, you will be free. He doesn't pick and choose favorites. What he does for one, he'll do for the rest. So if he set me free from my issues, from my struggles, why wouldn't he set you free from yours?